going.
Alright, I cooled down the wort down to just beneath 80 degrees. So I'm going to put the wort into the carboy that I've already sanitized. Got rid of the sanitizer that was in there. Let's do that right now.
Do you have the pour spout thing?
Don't do that.
Okay.
Alright, after transferring the wort into my carboy, next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to take my yeast, the liquid yeast here, and I'll open it, and it's going to be like opening up a soda can. It's going to fizz because, well, there's yeast in there, so there's pressure. So I've had this sitting in the sanitizer. Of course, before I just did all this, I actually dunked my own hands in the sanitizer also. Like I said, after the boil, anything that's going to touch the wort, you want it sanitized. Okay, that right there is pitching the yeast. Since this is a 5-gallon batch, now I need to add the 2.5 gallons of water. That's about a half gallon right there. What I do is I'll actually refrigerate 2 gallons of water so that it's actually colder. That'll help me bring my temperature down of my wort. That right there is 5 gallons in my 6.5 gallon carboy. Now, because we've been boiling and everything, there's very little oxygen actually in the wort that was boiling. By adding the 2.5 gallons of water, there's plenty of oxygen there. But what we need to do now is we actually want to mix it because you have that really sugary solution of the wort and then just the water. They don't really want to mix on their own very easily. So I want to shake this up, and it's actually going to introduce oxygen into all of it and at the same time provide a better environment for the yeast to live. So I'll put a stopper on there. It doesn't have a hole in it. And this is the fun part because you just shake it. Do this for about 5 minutes, or until you get tired. I'm going to continue doing this, but we'll be back in a minute. Alright, boys and girls, here's our finished product that's now wort that has yeast in it, and it's going to start fermenting. I've shaken it up, getting it all oxygenated and everything. Now that's actually the last time that you want to be able to introduce oxygen to it. Once the yeast start eating on the sugars and everything, you definitely do not want to introduce any more oxygen. That'll cause your beer to basically skunk. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to cover it up so light doesn't get to it, and then I'm going to store it, and where you would just store it in just someplace that's going to maintain room temperature 68 to 73, somewhere in that neighborhood, as consistent as possible. What I have is actually a freezer that has a temperature controller on it, and I have a heat light in there right now because it's colder outside than it is in the freezer, so that it maintains temperature in there. So I'm going to be setting it up in the freezer at this time.
Explain this. Explain this. What are you doing here? Yeah.
Alright, now what I have is I have my carboy in here. This is the beer that we just brewed. I went ahead and I put my blow-off tube on there. Like I said, whenever I have it in primary fermentation, I always use a blow-off tube. That way if it does foam up a whole lot, it just goes in there and I'm able to maintain my sanitation. No bad stuff gets back into the beer. But you'll see that I have another one right here. It's got an airlock on it. This one's in secondary. And I'm not sure how much of it you can see here. I have another one that's in secondary with an airlock on it. I got a full keg that's in here, just sitting in here, waiting to be drunk. I have 3 on tap right now, so that's like the ready spare. And I have a little thing right here of, actually, this is apple cider. So possibilities are limitless, as long as you have a good place for fermentation to take place. Do you need a freezer like this? No. You could just use a heating pad wrapped around one of these if it's colder, obviously, to keep it warm. You can get one of the little sticker type adhesive temperature strips, put it on there, that way you know what the temperature is, and just regulate it as such. That's my brew day. Now all I got to do is clean up my stuff. It's a lot easier to clean everything while it's still wet, so it may extend your brew day a little bit, but it's better to clean it now than let it get all crusty and then try to scrub it later. So that's that. Hope you have fun. Alright, now everything's clean. I made beer. So now the next thing is, in all honesty, this guy needs a beer. To another wonderful beer day.
Yeehaw.
Bye.
Cheers. By the way, Leah, this is Doug's project, so Doug does all the cleaning afterwards. Keep that in mind. Have a good day, guys.